Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, July 8th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please get the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is... This is good. We like to see this card in its reversal. We've got here our 9 of Wands in its reversal, and this is speaking directly to where we kind of left things yesterday in our daily collective read, because we will identify that we were seeing that there were lots of communication hurdles. There were a lot of concerns as it relates to what was being communicated, being able to communicate in an authentic way. For feminine energy, there was something around what you were trying to communicate, coming into that space of the opening of your heart space, but also feeling some points of boundaries, trying to set healthy boundaries for yourself. For masculine, we saw that there were some deep communication hurdles that were working to be achieved right now. For both masculine and feminine energy, we identified yesterday there were some deep moments of vulnerability coming to the surface. But what we like to see today with this 9 of Wands in its reversal is both masculine and feminine energy is moving from a place right now of not allowing these walls to come up, not allowing this to be a moment that these feelings or these vulnerabilities are blocking you off or closing you off, but trying to remain open and optimistic as you proceed forward from this point. The second card that we have coming through right now in our 5-card spread is... We've got here, we like to see both of these cards in combination. We have here our Ignite... our Page of Swords in combination with our 9 of Wands in its reversal. So what we're really identifying that is coming through here is this is that moment of overcoming some of that hurdles we saw when we left the cards yesterday with the Death card in its reversal. There were blockages that needed to be addressed, and we see here that for both masculine and feminine energy today, this is a moment of allowing yourself to push past your own not your boundaries, but those feelings of vulnerability, those feelings of wanting to shut down or close off right now. We're seeing that you are resisting that pull and instead moving with conviction, moving with courage into those places and spaces, not because they're easy, but because they are difficult, allowing that courage to push you forward even through your own sense of vulnerability at this moment. Third card that we are seeing right now in our 5-card spread is... Look who showed up again. This is where we left things yesterday. This was the final card for yesterday's spread. We have coming through here with our Death card in its reversal. This is where we're seeing that the courage is coming through right now for both masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. There is a moment right now that is recognizing that you are going through a point of transformation, that there are shifts that need to be addressed, that there are blockages and hurdles that are preventing this transformation for coming into focus. But what we love to see here is this is not a moment where you are backing down from any points of difficulty. Rather, you are moving into them with that courage, with that sense of optimism, with that conviction, allowing yourself to move deeply into these points of transformation to help overcome anything that is blocking or preventing you from being able to move with intentionality and purpose at this time. Fourth card that we have coming through right now in our 5-card spread. This is the conflict. These cards are the same cards that we pulled yesterday that we were seeing. But what we like about this is that shift that we were seeing and recognizing needed to occur. This is not necessarily a space where what we're identifying is these are some of those conflicts that we saw yesterday rising to the surface. These were either internal conflicts that you yourself were experiencing within yourself at this time, or they are tangible conflicts that require a point of addressing. What we like right now is this is a moment right now, returning to our reading yesterday, of facing, coming back into the exact same space where you potentially left things yesterday in order to address any points of conflict that are currently being experienced. Looking and observing the points that are causing the shift, getting to the source of what those conflicts are, to try to attempt to shift the conversation, to adjust those patterns, to allow for something productive to come forward from those points of conflict that you're experiencing right now. Again, this is not a point that you're letting yourself fall into the space of vulnerability. Quite the opposite. You are recognizing that these are places and spaces that are creating difficulty and challenges for you at this moment. But what we love to see here is that you are tackling and facing them right now with a sense of purpose, of clarity, of conviction, allowing that conviction to drive you forth to address these circumstances instead of moving or running away from them. We love seeing this right now for both masculine and feminine energy. Fifth card we are seeing right now in our 5-card spread is this is a challenging time. This is a challenging moment. This is addressing a lot of that vulnerability that we saw was rising to the surface around these same points of conflict that we were experiencing in yesterday's spread. This is that moment of really looking at the fact and identifying that there is something that is very difficult that needs to be overcome in these conflicts. The reason these conflicts are creating so much vulnerability is not because they are top level surface conflicts. These are conflicts that are very close to the heart space. They are painful conversations. They are painful feelings. They are painful internal conflicts that are creating a sense of heartbreak. They're creating a sense of pain. They are creating a moment of having to address circumstances and situations that are very difficult by the very nature of them being so close and so important to the heart space at this time. They are creating blockages and hurdles, but what we love to see for both feminine and masculine energy right now is this is that moment that you are addressing them with that sense of clarity and purpose. You're not moving away from these difficult conversations. You're not running from them. You are tackling them head on today, and we love to see this. Now, let's start to get some clarification on what we are seeing right now. Clarification between our 9 of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Page of Swords. So this is that conviction and clarity and purpose. We saw yesterday some walls were being thrown up. There were some real hurdles coming through in communication. Almost all the cards we got yesterday were reversed wand energy, and we're still seeing reversed wand energy here, but we're seeing reversed on wand energy in exactly the way we want to see reversed wand energy, which is not allowing the conversation to build or to the internal conflict to build into a place of shutting you down, of closing those walls. This is you addressing any of those blockages today with a renewed sense of vitality and purpose for both masculine and feminine energy right now. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the World card. And we love to see this combination here because there is a moment right now that you are looking at with a new sense of clarity, with a new sense of optimism for both masculine and feminine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, it is not the fact that this is an easy circumstance or an easy feeling that you are navigating at this time. Quite the opposite. But there's something to be recognized here that if you can push past this hurdle, if you can push through this, that there's something here that can effectively put you in a space where you can find that flow state. You can find that sense of what is going to feel most aligned to you. Both masculine and feminine right now are looking for those circumstances and situations that are going to be in the best interest of all people involved, all circumstances involved. If this is an internal journey for you right now, this is pushing past your own anxieties, your own difficulties, your own fears, particularly in the realms of communication and clarity at this moment. Operating in a state of utilizing today to serve that conviction, to drive towards your purposes, to move into a state of clarity and harmony as it relates to what it is that you're trying to achieve at this moment. And there's a feeling right now of unification that we're seeing both for masculine and feminine that we love to see because there's something operationally happening right now, particularly in the realm of those conflicts that you're experiencing, really navigating these circumstances and situations. We saw here yesterday that the point of clarity in these feelings that you're having at this time was moving right now from a sense of following your own joy, moving into higher alignment. And right now, feminine and masculine energy are taking this point of difficulty, this burden, whether it's an internal hurdle that you're currently experiencing or facing right now, or one that is very external and practically happening, and trying to utilize it to come into a space that will be able to be operational and functional and smooth and flowing for not just yourself, but for everyone around you right now. And And it is that point of clarity and purpose right now that is the conviction point that is driving you through any points or hurdles or communication issues or emotional situations or circumstances that you feel that typically might actually have led you to a point of shutting down. That is not happening today. This is you utilizing those difficult moments to come into a better state of flow. We love seeing this energy today. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Swords in its upright and our Death card in its reversal. So what are we seeing here? This is addressing the blockage. This is addressing whatever is causing this point of difficulty that's creating this challenge that is not allowing for that transformation or flow into that state of harmony, into that state of easement. But again, not backing down from it. And we are seeing that this is taking a bit of a leap of faith here. This is requiring a sense of your conviction driving you into places or spaces that you might not necessarily have as much clarity as you would ideally desire at this point. But we see that your purpose and your conviction is the exact purpose that you are still moving in this direction despite your own anxieties and doubts and fears. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, I'm not surprised to see this because if you will remember, we saw the Queen of Cups in its reversal yesterday. Masculine and feminine energy are mirroring each other right now. So what this is going to feel like, and it's going to feel a little bit different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now, is for the masculine energy, this is where the blockage came. We saw very specifically that there were issues, hurdles happening in communication yesterday between the masculine and feminine energies on both sides. For masculine energy, one of the reasons we saw that there was a difficulty or hurdle that was being crossed was because there is something about what you are trying to communicate that is hard for you to express. It is creating a moment of emotional overwhelm for the masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, this emotional overwhelm that you're feeling is either resulting in one or two scenarios. Either it's leading you to a state where you just feel, again, that blockage point was feeling like you were going to communicate or say the wrong thing, having that point of difficulty, having that point of burden happening. But for masculine right now, this is a moment that you are allowing your own conviction to drive you forward, even through some of that emotional overwhelm. For the other part of the masculine energy right now, this could be actually happening with quite the opposite effect. That this is either an emotional overwhelm that is leading you to potentially over giving your emotions right now, feeling like you can't express them or over expressing them, or potentially wanting to shut down, is what we're seeing. Closing off that emotionality. Masculine energy is utilizing this as a sense of internal conviction right now, allowing their own confidence to push them through situations and circumstances that feel to a certain degree emotionally overwhelming, wanting to overcome this hurdle, coming through this challenge right now, giving yourself this point of confidence because you realize that on the other side of this experience that you're having right now is this point of flow state. This is something that is very close to your heart right now, masculine, which is creating a lot of this emotionality. But that recognition point of the fact that this is close to your heart is exactly why we see you driving right forward into the face of it to be able to overcome those hurdles and challenges. For feminine energy right now, this is a moment that you are potentially experiencing as it relates to the masculine energy being in this zone right now. There's something that we're identifying here where the feminine energy is recognizing that the masculine energy feels and appears to be in a state of emotional overwhelm that is requiring or causing one of two different results. That over emotionality that we're seeing here, that over expression of emotions, or a pulling back of emotions because what they're feeling is too hard to articulate and describe. We are also seeing right now for feminine energy, you are not letting yourself to a certain degree mirror this back at this moment, but instead you are moving forward. You are coming through with a point of confidence, even and despite recognizing that the masculine energy is in this zone, taking on some of this burden for yourself right now, allowing that conviction to drive you through any of the blockages and hurdles that you're experiencing, recognizing that this is a point of transformation that needs to be overcome and faced. For the feminine and masculine energy that is in union right right now. This is working right now with a dual purpose. Masculine energy is going through that emotional overwhelm. Feminine energy is helping to pick up the slack at this time to drive forward with that state of confidence through any of this transformation process. While for feminine energy that is not in union right now, this is either experiencing right now, again, recognizing the emotionality of the masculine energy around you at this time, but not letting it necessarily stop or prevent you from being able to move forward at this time, because you're recognizing that this is a hurdle that needs to be overcome. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now, between the card that we left things on last night, the place we left things yesterday, this Death card in its reversal, in combination with the Five of Wands. This is picking up exactly where we left things yesterday. That sense of conflict in combination with those hurdles and challenges, recognizing that the conflict itself is creating a blockage in the transformation that you're hoping to move forward with in order to come into a place of ease, of facility, of having that flow state. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Three of Pentacles in its reversal. This is that changing of course. That is that adjustment that needs to be required right now. This is the articulation point that we need to see in this Death card in its reversal, because this is the reframing of the argument, the internal argument that you're currently experiencing for yourself at this time, or the very tangible conflict point that you are experiencing in the practical space at this moment. This readjustment point is a change of framework as it relates to how you are observing the conflict. Because what we're really seeing here is the adjustment is not observing it as a point of conflict, of reorienting your own frame of mind on it and saying that this is not a conflict. This is an opportunity to rebuild. This is an opportunity to rebuild and to build a stronger foundation. There is something that is very important around the conflict that you're experiencing right now, whether it be an internal emotional conflict or something that you are practically trying to navigate with outside energy at this time, that you are recognizing there's some aspect to these points of conflict and adversity that you're experiencing that are showing situations and circumstances that are not built upon a strong foundation. It is a readjustment point, the realigning of this conversation to really look at the framework of things, to allow an opportunity to rebuild that is allowing the point of transformation away from this feeling like, again, an ending, but instead a new opportunity to grow in an easier, more productive fashion. We love to see these cards in combination right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our Five of Wands in combination with our Three of Swords. This is addressing the heart of these issues. The reason that these feel like conflicts instead of rebuilding moments at this time is specifically because these difficulties, these adversities, these hurdles that you're currently experiencing, whether they be in the internal, spiritual, emotional realm right now within you, or very practically in the immediate space with those around you and the energies that are around you at play in these conflicts and difficulties, there is a reason and there is an acknowledgement that the reason that these are feeling like conflicts is because there are lots of hearts at stake here. There's a lot of emotionality on the line for both feminine and masculine energy. There is a point of observation that is occurring here in recognizing the heart that is required in these conflict points. That is where we see this conviction driving forth from. To a certain extent, the conviction itself is showing the difficulty and the challenges that are arising in these points of conflict, because these are not subtle, petty things that we're seeing here that are creating these points of conflict right now. These are triggering moments. These are things that are really not just addressing the situations and circumstances at play, but long-standing points of triggering, long-standing heartaches, past experiences potentially rising to the surface right now as you address some of these immediate conflicts, or feeling like there are wounds that are being inflicted right now in some of these experiences that you're having because they are so close and critical to your own heart and its needs and its burdens at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Two of Swords in its reversal, action being taken place, action happening. There's a moment right now that is recognizing that there needs to be something addressed here. These are not situations and circumstances that can be stayed upon right now, that there needs to be some sort of action taken. This is that moment with the Two of Swords that we recognize that the subconscious need to observe, the subconscious need to identify the circumstance has occurred. There is an understanding right now of what is happening. There's an understanding, there's a deep observation of really getting to the heart of the conflict points that you're currently experiencing. And that is that point that is requiring a state of action. You're feeling this call right now to do something to address them because there isn't necessarily anything more that needs to be observed around these circumstances or situations. There's a point of action that is required, which is why we see that Page of Swords coming out today. This is that conviction, all in an attempt to ease the heartache for both feminine and masculine energy, which we love to see today. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between these are very interesting cards to see in combination. Between our World card in combination with King of Cups energy in its reversal. This will feel different for feminine and masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, this is feeling like a point of emotional overwhelm right now because what you're trying to reach for at this time feels like it is going to create this level and degree of facility for you. It's going to create this point of balance, that there's something for the masculine energy that feels like it is just in reach, that is allowing them this opportunity to have everything that you ideally desire right now, or creating this sense of being able to utilize and come into this zone of moving in a space of having everything that you are desiring at this point, coming into a state of flow. But at the same time, you are having to address and tackle the fact that the hurdle in reaching this point right now is leading you into a state of emotional overwhelm. That something about this point of transformation that's occurring right now is creating this state or place of emotional vulnerability that is to such an extent that you are challenging your own self right now as you move trying to attain this moment for yourself. It's almost like seeing what you desire at hand right now, feeling like it is in your reach right now, masculine, but also feeling that it is requiring you to come into a state of emotional balance in order to receive it. While for feminine energy right now, this is potentially going through some kind of external challenge right now with masculine energy. This is either, again, working right now with a masculine energy in union that you're acting to facilitate this point of easement, of having everything that you both ideally desire at this point, but also needing to navigate the masculine energy's own emotionality at this time, their own emotional overflow to try to find and maintain that balance. While for the energy for feminine that is not in union right now, this is potentially feeling like, again, this could be feeling like oppositional energy right now, that it's not necessarily working in your favor, that you're not in a place of trying to navigate and ease this space, but rather that your own sense and ability to come into alignment right now is being thwarted or challenged right now through the energy of a masculine that you feel is not necessarily in emotional balance. This could be energy from the past that you're currently working to navigate through or find that way of overcoming your own limitations as it relates to the relationship that you may have potentially hold or still hold for this energy, or it is tangibly taking place in the present moment, that you are experiencing a moment where you are trying to come into balance, but at the same time trying to navigate masculine energy that feels like it is in a point of emotional overwhelm or pullback that is disrupting your own flow state. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our 10 of Swords. This is the movement through the death card in its reversal. There is something that needs to change. There is something that needs to come to a point of completion right now to allow that flow state to come into focus. All of these cards right now are requiring that point of action, that conflict point is driving to a point. It is driving to a course of action. It is leading you into a place of allowing for a point of completion at this time for both feminine and masculine energy right now. For masculine energy right now, there is a moment that feels so difficult. Look at this masculine energy that we're encountering right now, because there is something that is simultaneously ending. Whether this be something ending within you internally, whether this be an ego death, if you will, or whether this be a tangible ending that you are trying to navigate at this time, but at the same time is offering some opportunity of facility, that's offering this availability or this opening up to you at this moment, this renewed sense of empowerment at this time. This is what's causing the emotional overwhelm right now for the masculine energy, because this is a point that you are hanging between that death card in its reversal, an ending coming through in your own life right now in some way, shape, or form, either an internal ending or a very practical external ending that is creating a state of flow for you at this time, that there's something that you have to move through. You have to move through this ending in order to attain this right now. And that is creating a point that feels extremely emotionally difficult and challenging for the masculine energy at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, this is a moment that you are simultaneously experiencing the same challenge, but in a different way. If this is a feminine energy right now that's currently working in union with masculine energy, this is trying to navigate a space with that masculine energy where you are both simultaneously experiencing some aspect of the circumstances, some deep ending, some sense of completion that is very difficult. It is very triggering. We see that it is very triggering with the fact that we've got the 3 of Swords here coming through. This is a very difficult moment that you are working through right now. But you are working right now to find balance within this difficult circumstance and situation, helping the masculine energy that is currently going through a state of emotional overwhelm due to the circumstances at play here. This is something the feminine energy is trying to come into a flow state on, but working in collaboration, if in union, to help navigate the masculine energy through. While for the feminine energy that is not in union right now, this is feeling like a very different experience, because what we are identifying here for the feminine is there is a release process that is potentially required here right now at this time, that there is a point of recognition right now between your own ability to come into a state of flow, your own ability to come into a state that you are able to facilitate and move in the directions and with that purpose that you want right now to find that flow state. But you are feeling like your own transformation process is effectively blocked potentially right now by this masculine energy that doesn't necessarily feel like it is coming towards you in a point of operation, but is potentially blocking your own facility to do so at this time. And it is requiring some sense of completion around this energy. It is requiring a point of letting go in order to better facilitate your own flow state for yourself at this time. And this is very painful for the feminine energy right now, because this shedding and this release process is very close to the emotional heart space. This is either feminine energy releasing past energy that they've been holding on to that has been preventing them from coming into this flow state, or this is an active work right now that feminine is going through right now, feeling like there is some sense of completion, feeling like there is some point of finalitude around some situations and circumstances. But that point of finalitude is allowing for a point of transformation to occur. And it is either, again, working with and in alignment with masculine energy to go into that together right now, or feeling that oppositionally right now for the feminine and recognizing that there may be a point of release that's required in order to maintain and stay in that sense of flow for yourself at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our King of Cups in its reversal, in combination right now with our 3 of Pentacles in its reversal. This is a lot of challenging energy, particularly for the masculine energy right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Why? Because masculine energy is recognizing themselves that this is a rebuilding moment. that even in some of this finalitude that's coming through right now, even in the completion of the cycle, this is a new perspective and recognizing that this is an opportunity to build a new, stronger foundation that is requiring an ending at the same time. That manifestation of the World card with that 10 of Swords. But it is leading masculine energy in a place of emotional overwhelm as you have to do this. You're caught in a moment of rebuilding, of building something new from the start. And it is creating this emotional overwhelm that is either leading you again to feel like you cannot contain your own emotionality, or that you're like restricting your emotions because they feel so powerful at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, again, this is either feminine energy right now working in union with a masculine energy that you recognize is feeling this state of emotional overwhelm, but you are working in harmony with them right now, allowing cycles to complete so that you can build newer, stronger foundations as you proceed forward from this time. Or recognizing that the masculine energy is in this moment of building this new foundation that you are trying to support them in, that is leading them to a space of emotional overwhelm. While for the other part of the feminine energy, this could be feeling like a release process from masculine energy that is in too much of an emotional overwhelm, that you are either feeling too much of an imbalance in, that you are not recognizing an ability to balance, that is either leading to an overflow of constant emotionality from the masculine energy, or complete restriction or no access to that emotionality that is causing a degree of having to create this opportunity of allowing this to be a moment of rebuilding a new foundation for yourself moving forward from this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Doesn't want to come out. Clarification coming through right now with our 3 of Cups in its reversal. This is a lot of getting to the heart of matter, shedding energy, moving away from anything that doesn't necessarily feel like you are in alignment with it. There's a lot of observation right now around some spaces or places that are causing any points of difficulty, any hurdles or challenges that are effectively becoming too great. And what's really critical here, do you see this double 3 energy that we're seeing here? This is a moment of rebuilding new foundations, but that point of rebuilding is requiring a lot of things to kind of be shed at this time. It is an observation point in kind of addressing everything that is around you at this moment and at this point of time. Not only recognizing to a certain extent what needs to be rebuilt, but looking at the energies through which you are trying to rebuild with. For masculine energy right now, this is feeling like a state of emotional overwhelm. There are new foundations that you are aiming to build for yourself at this moment. Either, again, working in collaboration with feminine energy to address these situations and circumstances, or having to do this work for yourself at this time. And it is requiring and necessitating for you at this point to really look and start something from the ground up. Taking something, unbuilding it, if you will, pulling down the architecture of something so that something can come up new in the wake of it that feels more solid and strong. And a lot of that is also identifying the energy around you right now and really utilizing this as like a clean start energy here. Looking at the energies and saying, are you in alignment with what I'm trying to create? Masculine is not only feeling this emotional overwhelm because this sense of completion and cycle is something that is creating this state of driven purpose, that they see the fact that something that they wish to attain is very much in their grasp, but something about this is requiring an act of absolute rebuilding right now. And some of it is causing some points of conflict or some movement away from energy that you don't necessarily feel is aligned to your own purposes at this time. This is masculine really going on an inward journey right now to build these foundations for themselves at this time. While for feminine energy right now, this is again an opportunity of rebuilding. This is starting from a new, stronger foundation. And that is requiring you either, again, if you are working in union right now with masculine energy, to have a lot of points of observation towards not only the new foundation, but any energy you feel is potentially causing these points of conflict or disruption for the masculine energy at this time. Really assessing what you are creating at this time, looking at the energies around you, asking if they're in alignment to you as you proceed forward from this point to help address the masculine's feelings of emotional overwhelm, even as you try to come into a state of balance. While for the feminine energy that is not in union right now, This is a moment that you yourself are feeling that you are reacting to masculine energy, this is feminine energy that is not in union right now. This is coming into a clarity of purpose in terms of what you are trying to create for yourself. And it is interesting because what we're really seeing right now is it's not only observing masculine energy and some of this emotionality that we're seeing that is either leading to an overflow of emotional feelings right now, or a collapsing point, not being able to communicate those feelings effectively because of the emotionality at stake. It's also requiring you to look to a certain degree at the energy around you at the same time, beyond you right now, and really asking what is in alignment to what you're trying to create right now, and what is effectively standing in the way of this foundation being formed. That is that point of observation that we're seeing for the feminine right now, of having that point of completion, that point of release, allowing those endings to occur to facilitate you coming into a better state of flow at this time. Big energy here today, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Three of Pentacles in its reversal and our Two of Swords in its reversal. So again, what we are identifying right now is a moment of having to build new foundations for yourself at this time. This is requiring a lot of deep work, especially for the masculine energy right now, because this is very emotionally triggering. We're seeing that here. A lot of heart energy is on the line. There's a lot of heartbreak that's currently happening right now in the collective energy. This is difficult work. It's creating a lot of trigger points, but we are seeing here that this is today that you are taking these actions, you are taking these necessary steps, but realigning the conflict that you're currently experiencing, readjusting the conversations so that they are not moving from a point of conflict, which is what is so important that we're working to achieve at this time, and instead looking at them as building new foundations in the wake of situations and circumstances that require this type of work. Masculine and feminine are not moving away from this today. They've observed everything they need to observe. This is that point of activation and of action. May I please get one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. This is the same card that we saw yesterday. There's some practical issues here that need to be addressed. What's really interesting right now is a lot of this action that we're seeing in the emotional space is getting translated by looking at the practical issues, concentrating on what is practically working and what is practically not, what is making a point of comfort for you at this time versus what is creating too much discomfort in your own life at the moment. For both masculine and feminine energy, there's a lot of work right now in putting this point of addressing on what is working and what is not, what is creating comfort right now versus what is creating more discomfort. That's where we're building this foundation. That's where we're going to start from. What feels comfortable for you? What is creating comfort versus what is creating dis-ease? For masculine and feminine energy, this is that activation point that we're seeing, that there is some points right now that you are looking at. You are building these foundations. You are looking at these points of conflict right now, today, from a different context than you were looking at them yesterday. Because what we're really observing right now is the fact that you are just looking at what feels right for you, what feels comfortable, what is going to be the most comfortable space for you to occupy as you proceed forward from this point. That is the first space that we're operating in right now to build these foundations for both masculine and feminine. And that is allowing for the point of action. That's giving you some clear step, something that you can immediately adjust or change in your own immediate environment that can help you start to feel like you're building this new foundation for yourself at this time, instead of allowing this conflict energy to rise to the surface or allowing some of this continuation of an internal or external conflict to be prolonged and continue. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our 10 of Swords energy in combination with our 3 of Cups in its reversal. So this is some of that completion energy that we are identifying and seeing right now, because there are some things that we are recognizing are coming to a point of finalitude right now. They are very difficult. They're putting everyone in a space of getting very serious, moving away from anything that feels like it is more flippant, feeling like it is more about amusement or delight, but really kind of putting a concentration in terms of building those energies that seem truly committed to building something strong for you at this time. For both masculine and feminine energy, this isn't just something that's happening between the masculine and feminine energy at this moment. There's a lot of addressing towards the energies around you at play at this time, and a point of observation as to whether they are in alignment with you right now, or if they're just moving intentionality to their own wants and needs. This is that point of really getting to the heart of something, and it is allowing for that rebuilding, because this rebuilding that we're seeing is not just internally. It's looking at everything around you right now and really allowing that to also allow you this point of coming into focus with what is truly for you at this time versus what is distracting you or moving you away from getting into that alignment and flow state. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our King of Pentacles in its reversal. Again, we saw a lot of feminine energy yesterday. Today we're seeing a lot of masculine energy. We're seeing the energies that are reflecting upon each other at this time. There is something right now for the masculine energy that needs to be paid attention to, because what we're identifying today is not only is this a moment that you are feeling a lot of that emotional vulnerability masculine with that sense of emotional imbalance at this time, but it is also creating a point of feeling like you are in a space that does not feel stable. Hence, this need to rebuild the foundation, this need to move away from the internal or external conflict, this need to take some action at this time. Because what we're really identifying for the masculine energy right now is a point of observation towards what feels like it is making you feel you are in alignment versus what you feel is creating too much disruption for you at this moment. Looking and identifying, potentially even moving away from energy that you feel is causing some of these points of disruption so that you can focus on building this new solid foundation for yourself at this time. And it is requiring some point of ending. For the masculine energy right now, this could be feeling a bit like some ego death that's here. Because for part of the masculine energy right now, this ego death is what's allowing you to come into potential balance. It's allowing you to come into flow state. And it's also requiring you right now to have a point of observation as it relates to the energy that's at play around you at this time. Really asking yourself if those energies feel like they're in alignment with you, or if they're creating that sense or state of instability for you at this time. That is what's also navigating the masculine energy as they go through this point of emotional overwhelm. And it is requiring a degree of masculine and getting very serious at this time, shedding some energy that they just don't necessarily feel is in alignment with them. While for feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment, again, of critical observation. We see here what feels comfortable, what is creating this sense of ease, of comfort at this time for feminine. The feminine energy is either, again, working right now in alignment with a masculine energy that's going through a point of feeling that level or degree of instability or emotional upheaval at this time, to really analyze and assess what needs to be changed or moved away from. Specifically, not just around what isn't working between you and that energy or making some adjustments, but also looking at the energies that are at stake or at play around you, and really looking at the intentionality and how that kind of moves or conducts with you as you go forward from this point. While for the other part of the feminine collective right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you are coming into a state of flow, and it is requiring you to potentially move away from energy that you do not feel is in alignment with you at this time. Recognizing potentially some places and spaces that are not just necessarily aligned with the masculine energy that may be feeling, again, too emotionally imbalanced to be able to build something of strong foundation, or too rocky as it relates to their own sense of stability at this time. But you're also putting a lot of analysis and assessment into the energy around you at this moment as well. And it's kind of, for feminine, this is an observation of all the energy that is around you at this time, really asking whether it is creating this point of stability for you at this moment, or whether it is creating too much disruption. That point of easement is where we see that both feminine and masculine are working towards right now. And there's a lot of shedding of energy that we're also seeing is occurring, because everyone is taking a lot of degree of seriousness in this. And we're seeing here that there's a lot of extra additional energy around it as well that needs to be addressed. This could even be a lot of difficult conversations today around people that are in each other's lives. A lot of that orientation, especially for the energies that are in union at this time, to be able to come into a state of deeper stabilization that is requiring a point of transformation. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our 3 of Cups in its reversal in combination with our 9 of Pentacles in its reversal. So again, for feminine and masculine energy right now, there is a point of observation. There is a point of analysis, looking right now in terms of what feels comfortable, what feels like it's going to create a state of easement for you. And that is requiring you to also look at the energies around you right now and ask if they are also in alignment in terms of what you're trying to seek, or if they are causing some of this imbalance or distraction for you at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? It's back out again. Same card that we saw yesterday. These cards are aligning and they're coming through the same as yesterday, but we like this because there's points of activation that are happening here. There's a recalibration, a reorientation in terms of like what is truly happening, being able to build that new foundation. For masculine and feminine energy, what are we saying? As I've been saying over the last few days, this is about partnership. Doesn't necessarily need to be about romantic partnerships. This is putting a lot of critical eyes in terms of any of the partnerships that you are working in this time. Could be work, could be professional, could be friendships. This is that point of recalibration that we are seeing. There's some orientation point here that is pointing to some kind of observation about coming into a better aligned partnership that is pointing out either again for the energy that is working in union right now, looking at energies around you right now, trying to come into a state of easement in terms of what feels comfortable, not just for you and the partnerships themselves, but the energies that are aligned to those partnerships at this moment. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in alignment right now or not in union, this is a moment of observation in what is effectively blocking you at this time. For a lot of you, again, this is a lot of deep work that's happening right now in terms of the energy that you are aligned with. Looking and asking if it is creating a state of comfort for you at this time, or if it is creating disruption. Working right now either in union to adjust and amend this, or potentially just shedding or moving away from anything or anyone that is creating too much disruption to your own peace, to your own sense of comfort, to your own ability to create a point of comfort for yourself at this moment. For the feminine energy, this is coming into that flow state that we're seeing that is requiring a degree of endings, even as you try to facilitate this for yourself at this moment. A point of observation and taking action. While for the masculine energy, this is a moment of, again, coming into a point of orientation in terms of what feels comfortable for you. And again, taking some steps in terms of looking and either addressing pieces, places, and spaces of imbalance, or moving away from the ones that you're identifying do not necessarily feel like they're going to create this sense of peace or comfort for you as you proceed forward at this moment. Final cards for today's spread is our King of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our Lovers card in its reversal. This is going to feel very different for feminine and masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Masculine energy right now, you are going through a moment of having these difficulties or challenges as it relates to partnerships. Going to say it again, especially with this King of Pentacles here in its reversal. This doesn't necessarily need to mean a romantic partnership. Masculine energy is looking right now at disruptions in any partnerships that are currently in their own experience. They're looking at the partnerships not only from a space of union right now, but they're looking at the spaces or places that are creating any feelings of instability for them at this time, assessing and identifying, either trying to work through circumstances and situations in partnership at this time so that they can feel more stable, so that they can feel more secure, or moving away from partnerships that feel like they're creating too much instability for the masculine at this moment. This is creating a sense of emotional overwhelm for the masculine energy, even as they undergo it. This is a very difficult moment for masculine, is what we're identifying here. While for feminine energy, this is difficult, but in a different way, because this is feminine energy rising to the challenge right now to address, to take action, as it relates to the partnerships in your life right now. Going to say it again, doesn't necessarily need to be romantic, certainly can be for the feminine right now, because what we're identifying here is a moment where feminine is identifying situations or circumstances that they are looking at and just coming into some realization of a partnership that needs addressing. It needs to have some addressing points because it's not leading to that feeling of harmony in the partnerships themselves. Either, again, working with a masculine energy and identifying the fact that the reason that these partnerships are feeling like this is because the masculine energy is in a state of not feeling like they can be stable at this time. Either working in union and taking steps right now to help shore up this energy so that it feels more stable in order to potentially heal and amend some of these difficulties in partnership at this moment. Or for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is taking action to move away from energy that you are identifying is creating too much of a sense of instability at this time. That there's something around the masculine energy that's potentially around some of these partnerships that feels like it's coming through as too unstable, as too inconsistent. And that is that moment that is creating a point of having to potentially move away from any, or identifying that these partnerships are not necessarily something that can come into that higher alignment. That's that moment of recognition that feminine is having potentially on the other side of this. This is either a unification and healing point, or this is a moving away from something for feminine that is just feeling too unstable or too inconsistent to be viable as a strong partnership or union at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Final card for today's spread. We love this. This is beautiful. This is, again, a continuation on what we identified yesterday coming through. We saw this girlfriend coming up yesterday. She's back up here today. I got to stress this right now. There's something that is happening right now for the feminine energy. We've been seeing a lot of the feminine energy shifting into different positions over the last few days and the weeks. But what we're really identifying here is feminine is coming into a state where they're allowing themselves their full expression of their emotionality at this time. Feminine is going through, if this is a situation of a feminine trying to release old energy, this is that feminine energy coming into that release process. This is the feminine energy recognizing and releasing any past energy with the understanding that that energy is shown in some way, shape, or form, that it lacks that ability to be consistent and stable, that there's an orientation point of feminine coming into their own energy, taking that action today, allowing themselves to embrace their feelings, allowing themselves to embrace their sense of love of the self, and also their own ability to love others. This is feminine coming back into their point of confidence and allowing that courage to push them through a point of emotional vulnerability, that emotional vulnerability that we identified and saw yesterday in the cards coming through. This is feminine energy holding to their own heart space, holding to their own convictions, coming from an authentic place as they make the choices that they are trying to make today, allowing that heart to speak forward for them, but also taking the necessary actions to honor that heart space in kind. While for masculine energy right now, and again, for the feminine energy that is in union, this is how the feminine energy is addressing any energy around right now partnership that they feel does maintain a degree of viability, because feminine energy is lending their emotional support in this space because they're showing that that is where their heart lies right now, towards potentially masculine energy that is going through a point of emotional overwhelm and some feelings of instability at this time. This is how the feminine energy in union is conquering some of these hurdles and adversities with the masculine energy at this point. While for the masculine energy that is in union right now, this is you getting that emotional support. This is you getting that sense of care from a feminine energy, even at a point that you yourself are going through a bit of an emotional overwhelm and feeling this point of instability that is also helping potentially to repair any of this partnership energy that we see that they are going through. This is also potentially feminine energy, masculine energy that is in union right now, helping that energy through outside partnerships that may be causing problems that we're seeing here, or that there are hurdles that are being challenged or needing to be worked through. That gives indication with that 3 of Cups as well. This is them facing that energy together and being able to find the path forward. For the energy that is not in union right now, this is going to feel a bit different, because for feminine energy right now that is not in union, this is potentially a movement right now in identifying where your heart space is, coming from a space of authenticity, but also having to have a point of acknowledgement right now around some of the energy that is around you at this time, recognizing that that energy that may be connected to your heart space may be feeling too unstable. It may not be creating a sense of stability at this time that is requiring or allowing a point of release as you come into this sense of love, of this sense of authenticity for yourself at this moment. While for masculine energy that is not in union right now, this is a moment that again is feeling very difficult, because you yourself are identifying a point of instability that you are recognizing right now around circumstances and situations that aren't making you necessarily feel stable. You are putting a lot of care and attention right now into union, into how to fortify a union, potentially with, or a union or partnership that you feel is broken to a degree. But your attention and conviction is towards a feminine energy that you recognize is in this space for you, that you are feeling this emotionality, that you are recognizing this level of care, that this is moving towards your heart's desire, even as you're undergoing difficulties or hardships in partnership that you are trying to navigate in order to get in alignment with this feminine energy. So for the masculine energy that's in union, not in union right now, this is feeling very difficult, because this is a moment that you are experiencing an immediate blockage in partnership, while also identifying that there's something in the midst of this partnership being blocked, that you are still feeling a huge degree of draw and attention and care towards this energy. And you are potentially working right now to try to come into a point of stabilization in order to move back into focus towards this energy at this time. And again, that may even be requiring for the masculine energy to have to shed some outside energy in the process. Final card, bottom of the deck for today's spread right now is, dun, 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 just bear with me a minute. What do we have as our final card of the day? Seven of Cups in its reversal. This is a point of orientation in terms of truly seeking what it is that you're seeking, moving with intention and clarity towards your heart's desire. What we really see here is there is some feelings right now of obfuscation. There are some feelings of confusion. Whatever these conflicts that you're feeling right now, internally or externally right now, they're creating a sense that makes it hard to really focus on what it is that you're truly after. If you're going through this right now, the key point of advice to maintain going forward from this point is really to focus on what it is that you truly want at this time, what it is that you're truly seeking, so that you can articulate it in the best way possible, overcoming a lot of those challenges and hurdles that we identified yesterday in the communication blocks, so that you can move from a place of intentionality and clarity, as opposed to effectively potentially causing more confusion by not necessarily driving forward with that sense of clarity. That's how this is that blockage that we're also seeing with that death card in its reversal, is making sure that you are very focused on being clear in terms of what it is that you want and what it is that you're seeking at this time, so that you can keep your focus stable to move into that flow state that we're seeing here with the world. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you hit both buttons on my site if you'd like to have a reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never ask you to contact me. I will never slide into your DMs and say, greetings and salutations, I have a very important message for you. That's not me. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and sharing this reading with me today. And we will do this again tomorrow.